I just saw Shazam Fury of the Gods, and here is my full spoiler-free review. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. Yesterday I saw Shazam Fury of the Gods, the first DC movie of 2023, and today I will be giving my complete and honest spoiler-free review. Now, if you've been here on the channel before, then you know I've preferred the darker, more gritty DC films to the lighter-hearted, more humorous DC films, but that didn't stop me from enjoying this movie. I went into this expecting it to be around the same quality as the first film, but I actually enjoyed this movie more than Shazam 1. The best way to describe Fury of the Gods is that they just upgraded everything from the first film. So if you enjoyed the first movie, or even just found it okay, then you will definitely enjoy this movie more. From the CGI to the score, everything felt bigger and felt better, like the studio just gave Fury of the Gods more time to shine. So starting off with the story. For the most part, I did enjoy this story. It was fun, it was family orientated, and it was emotional, which is a really satisfying thing to see. The kids have all grown up and are trying to find their place in the world whilst juggling the weight of being a superhero, and they really displayed that well, but I wish they took just a bit more time establishing what the family dynamic is like at this point in time. We kind of saw it for a couple of minutes, but then focused on the main storyline. If we just had an extra 5 minutes of the family at home and seeing how it was functioning, I think it could have settled the audience a bit more into how the family dynamic was, and I think it would have made other future scenes a bit more emotional. But I didn't expect the emotion aspect to be there as much as it was, and it was a real pleasant surprise. It made me feel a lot more for these characters, and a specific mention to Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddie Freeman. His acting was incredible and drew a lot more emotions from me than I thought a movie like this could. The three villains had a really interesting dynamic that I didn't expect to see. I assumed it was just going to be them wanting to take down the Shazam family, but it was more complicated than that. There were many layers to their relationship and their motivations, which created an unpredictable and enjoyable watch. As for the humor, well, I was worried that that was going to be where the movie damaged itself, but it actually worked. Far more than I think it does in other superhero films where they focus on humor a lot, because these are actually kids making the childish jokes, not adults making childish jokes. It makes more sense because the humor level matches the age range of the people making the jokes. So whilst I prefer humor to not be as much of a focus in superhero movies in general, it works for the Shazam family specifically because they are actually kids. There were a few jokes that I think didn't need to be there, and unfortunately it sometimes took away from a scene, but that wasn't often. I would say probably about 3 or 4 jokes could have been taken out total, but it wasn't a massive interference. Just something that I think could have allowed a scene to progress smoother or to be taken a bit more seriously. But the humor also worked because of the timing of the jokes, and I don't mean the timing of a joke in a scene, I actually mean where they used the jokes over the course of the entire film. In the first 2 acts, naturally the stakes aren't as high, so it allows the humour to be more present. But when the stakes rose, the humour decreased, which is something that was really needed. So with the 3rd act being more mature, it allowed the final battle to have so much more emotion to it. You felt that there was danger, that there was actually something to be worried about. And speaking of the final battle and the action overall, it had a huge upgrade from the first film. With Shazam 1, you could feel the budget was lower than a normal superhero movie, which made the action quite tame in places, but Fury of the Gods did not have that problem. According to Variety, the budget was only $100 million, but that can't be right because it felt like it had a budget of around $200 million. There was only one shot that felt off, and that was shown in the trailer when Shazam hits the force field, but other than that, the CGI wasn't a problem. The action was a huge improvement on the first film, and the final battle was really strong. However, I wish we had seen more time of the Shazam family fighting together in the first 2 acts. I think we only had one proper scene of the family saving people before the big bad came in, which was a good scene, but it was a shame as I wanted to see more scenes like it. Moving on to the pacing of the movie, it's probably one of the better paced DC films. Because this is the sequel, we didn't have to focus on the origin story, which allowed us to get right into the action this time, which made the first act flow much smoother as it didn't waste its time with information we already knew. But obviously, like I mentioned, I wish they had just 5 more minutes at the beginning of the movie of the family interacting with one another, and maybe even a little montage of the family saving people and taking down crime. It just would have established where the whole Shazam family are at in their lives and how they have progressed with their powers. But overall, the pacing really worked. I didn't check my watch once to see how long was left, and I think it was pretty much the runtime that was needed. But now onto the score. If you've seen my reviews for other films, then you know my thoughts on how a score can impact a movie. For me, the soundtrack or score can massively improve or weaken a film, and the score for Shazam Fury of the Gods was confusing for me. You can listen to the score on Spotify and specifically listen to the main title theme to hear what I mean. For me, it's a big upgrade on the first film, which was really missing a strong score, but that doesn't mean I love this one. It feels like it's almost there, like it's almost a really good theme. It just felt a little weak for me. It was definitely far more noticeable, which is a good start, but I felt it needed just a bit more power to it. Almost like this was the final draft of the theme before they found the final product. So the score was an upgrade from the first movie, but not a great score, unfortunately. I mentioned Jack Dylan Grazer's performance as a standout performance, but the whole cast did pretty well. I know the most controversial one people seem to have is Zachary Levi as Shazam, but I don't see the problem. I liked him in Shazam 1, and I think this was an improvement on his performance. I think they did a better job at getting Billy Batson and Shazam's personalities similar. They both grew up as time went on, but I still felt that Billy Batson was more mature than Shazam in the first 2 acts. But the final act is where they really integrate together. You really feel both parts of the character grow up. I know the news surrounding the new DCU has upset a lot of fans, including myself, which made me hesitant about the movie. But I don't think that should stop you from seeing this movie, because it was a really enjoyable DC film. If the only reason you aren't seeing it is because of the DCU news, or that you're worried that it won't mean anything for the future, then I don't think that is the right reason not to go, because you'd be missing out on a pretty fun movie. It was another film where I feel they are on the right track. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it definitely showed that DC was improving and heading in the right direction. It makes me want to see more of this universe and these characters. There is still a lot of potential left, so I hope DC and Warner Brothers see that. It definitely felt like a movie inside of the DCEU. We felt the presence of the DC superheroes in this universe, and you could tell that this movie wanted to be integrated into other DC projects. So I really hope we can see Shazam interact with groups like the Justice League or the Justice Society. That would be the next step in his character arc that I think is really needed. So hopefully we can see that happen. What I will say is that the trailers didn't show off the movie's quality in the best way it could. It gave an insight into what happens, but the movie is definitely better than the trailers. If I had to rank it out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7. Like I said, a fun, family-orientated and emotional movie that upgraded everything I liked from the first film. So that is my spoiler-free review for Shazam Fury of the Gods. A big thank you to Warner Brothers for inviting me, and a big thank you to you for all watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you enjoy Shazam Fury of the Gods releasing March 17th. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!